Heat Vision and Jack is the greatest show that you've never heard of. Written by Dan Harmon, directed by Ben Stiller, and starring Jack Black and Owen Wilson, this show had the potential to change comedy forever. But after making just one episode, the pilot wasn't picked up, and the show would be sent to the TV pilot graveyard. The show followed Jack Austin, played by Jack Black, an astronaut who literally flew too close to the sun, expanding his brain and making him 3 times smarter than the smartest man alive. And the voice of Owen Wilson played Heat Vision, Jack's former roommate, who fused with a motorcycle. The show was intended to be a campy, weekly procedural, with Heat Vision and Jack traveling the world, solving crimes, and escaping from agents at NASA, who were trying to capture Jack to experiment on his superpowered brain. It was an homage to the classic TV shows that the creators grew up watching, like Knight Rider, and it perfectly captured the retro 80s schlock that they were inspired by. The entire show was aware of itself in the best way possible. The bad guy was the actor Ron Silver, playing himself as Ron Silver, the actor, who also works for NASA to hunt down Jack Austin. The show was years ahead of its time in so many ways. Nowadays, it's easy to take for granted when shows are smart and meta, but back then this was nearly unheard of. Single-camera sitcoms in America wouldn't take off until a few years later with Arrested Development and The Office. The show was written and created by Dan Harmon and Rob Schrab. Harmon would go on to make 2 of the most influential comedy shows of the past 20 years, with Community and Rick and Morty. Both of these shows became cultural lexicons for how people in the social media age would communicate with each other. His writing is a postmodern reimagining of the pop culture that he grew up on. This day and age, every piece of media that we consume is a reference to something that came out before it. And I think that it's his writing on these shows that helped bring that style of comedy and communication to the mainstream. It makes me wonder, if Heat Vision and Jack was picked up and became a series, would it have propelled comedy forward to where it is now 20 years earlier? Ben Stiller was one of the biggest movie stars of the 2000s, but it's easy to forget how talented of a director he is. In recent years, he's gotten his love for his direction on the Apple TV series Severance. But in the 90s, he was spearheading his own The Ben Stiller Show, which was an avant-garde voice of 90s sketch comedy. He brings a unique touch to everything that he directs, making it not only hilarious, but also one of a kind and interesting. If this show was picked up, what would it have meant for his career? If he was busy directing this TV show, would he have had times to make movies like The Royal Tenenbaums, Dodgeball, or Meet the Parents? From 2000 to 2005, he starred in over a dozen films. What happens to all of these movies if he's directing in the TV world? Do they even get made at all? The ripple effect of this show not being picked up affected the next 20 years of mainstream comedy. It's interesting to see Stiller play a cameo in the pilot as well, playing the DJ in the strip club at the end of the episode. His wife and frequent co-star Christine Taylor plays the main love interest of the pilot, which gives the show an official feeling, like it's one of the real frat pack movies. Ben Stiller, Jack Black, and Owen Wilson make up 3 of the main members of the frat pack, a group of frequent collaborators in many of the classic comedies of that era. So it's awesome seeing what they can do within the TV medium. The pilot itself is great, with a unique look and a very sharp script. All of the stars have insane chemistry right off the bat, and every single line and look is hilarious. The look of the show perfectly captured that old school 80s feel, and watching it you have the feeling that this could have gone forever if they wanted it to. The pilot episode is even labeled as episode 14, to give the world of the show that extra lived-in feeling. Unfortunately, even though everyone involved was proud of how the pilot turned out, it was just too expensive for the show to be worth it to the network. That cheap retro look was actually very expensive to pull off, and with 3 movie stars leading your show, they each had to be paid movie star salaries to be involved, and that just wasn't sustainable for TV shows at the time. The show had big screen ambitions, but with a small screen framework holding it down. It really is ironic because so much of what made this show interesting and exciting was what led to it not being sustainable in the slightest. Heat Vision and Jack is this lost classic that never was, possibly the biggest comedy what-if of the past 20 years. As much as I would have loved to see 5 seasons of this show, I can't help but think that maybe it was for the best. If we had to sacrifice this show in order to get Dodgeball, School of Rock, Wedding Crashers, Tropic Thunder, Community, and Rick and Morty, then maybe it was all worth it. Maybe just this pilot of Heat Vision and Jack existing at all was the gift that made all those things even possible. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have you seen the pilot episode to Heat Vision and Jack? If so, let me know down in the comments. How did you like it? What were your thoughts on it? It's available online for anyone who's interested to see it. I want to make a full-length Understanding Ben Stiller video at some point this year, and also something breaking down the whole frat pack, so stay tuned for that. As always, I want to give a special shout out to my patrons. If you want to support the channel, you could head over there for some more content. And as always, I got a lot more headed your way, so stay tuned, stay safe, and stay deaf. Thanks for watching.